everybody. I'm BJ Flag.
And I'm Rich G, and this is episode 304. We can all fail. It's what you do after.
Yes, this is going to be a very, very good one. Let
Yeah,
me tell you.
yeah.
Uh, yeah,
It's not going to be negative, it's actually going to be positive. But today we're talking all about failure. So, all right, folks, let's get real here. Failure. Failure. It's that big, ugly word none of us want to utter, especially not when talking about our businesses. The
yes.
baby we've nurtured from just a twinkle in our eye to reality. But here's the thing, we all can and do fail. And that's okay. That's okay if you fail. What truly counts is how we pick ourselves up, dust off the dirt, and keep on going.
And now I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Failure stings. And it's like the slap of cold air hitting you in the face in the dead of winter. It takes your breath away. But just like stepping out into the cold, it's an inevitable part of life and in business. We must remember that failure is not permanent and it's just a stop on the journey.
So, our first action step is taking failure on the chin. Okay. The first
Yes.
thing to do when failure rears its head, you need to accept it. Yep, just like that. Take it on the chin. This might sound like a strange action step, but it's probably the most important one. We
Oh, yeah.
can't learn from our failures if we don't accept them. And as small business owners, learning from our mistakes is how we grow. Let me see. A great example is when a number of years ago, I launched the Get That Job Boot Camp. And
Right.
that's a series of like 45 videos to help job searchers out there take a class that takes them from soup to nuts, all the way from starting to look for a job, all the way to their first 90 days on the new job. And I
Right.
worked with a company that helped me put it up on Teachable, and I marketed it through Facebook, and I had over 300 people signing up for a force feed of email, a chain to get them to buy the Get That Job Boot Camp.
Right.
And I sold one. And that person wanted a refund because they really needed the money. They loved the course, but they needed the money. And I gave a
Oh,
refund after 30 days. So I realized after all of this that it was a failure. It was a failure. And I just had to go. And what I do now is when I have a client that's in transition, I give them the boot camp for free.
right.
But honestly, though, it was a big failure. I mean, it was a lot of work. Think about it, 45 videos. It was a lot of work.
Yeah, that
So,
was a lot of work, but the fact that you can still use it
yeah.
is so great, right? Love that part. Um, Action step number two, the Sherlock Holmes treatment. Now, on to our next step, the analysis. Roll up your sleeves, put on your detective hat, and dig into what went wrong. Ask yourself, why did this fail? Could have done a little bit differently. By understanding the cause of the failure, you can work to ensure we um, avoid repeating the same mistakes. It's so true. You're working very hard. You're in the heat of the moment. It's not easy for you to go back and look and investigate what could have gone wrong. We worked on a proposal for a lumber company, and it was right before vacation. They wanted us to, they came back and said, can you give us 5 case studies of, to tell about these certain things? We didn't have the case studies. And I wasn't going to work on them during vacation. And I said to myself, that's almost an unrealistic demand. But then I said to myself, no, no, I should have had the case studies done. I apologized. I said, I'm going on vacation. Unfortunately, I cannot be part of this RFP. So, I had to step away.
Yeah.
It was such a hard decision. I am not good at stepping away during a sales process. But I just knew it was the right move. Knew it was the right move.
Yeah, and you have to step back and look at what can I do differently? What can I do differently next time? Like for you at the lumber company, it's like, is there any preparation next time, or do you have to prepare the prospect a little bit better, or something? It's very tough.
Yeah.
We make mistakes all the time, and I've always said with mistakes, if you make it once, it's a learning opportunity. It's not failure. It's something you've learned from, and make
Yeah.
sure that you just don't do it again.
Exactly. Exactly.
So action step number 3, extracting the gold nugget. Next up, we have learning. Now, I know we've talked about learning already, but stick with me here. Once we've understood why we failed, we can take that knowledge and apply it moving forward. Essentially, we're looking to extract that golden nugget of wisdom from the rubble of our failure. And trust me, it's there. You just have to look for it. That's what I did. I had this whole class. I give it away now, and clients love it. It's great. One of the things that I extracted, I was a member of a networking group for over 11 years, and it brought a lot of business, and I made a lot of friends, and it was pleasurable to go. But I realized a number of years ago that networking really wasn't helping my practice. Yeah, I'd get a client every so often, but it was a lot of work. It was a lot of effort. And I found that if I shifted from trying to meet a lot of people and spread the word and actually turn the table and target specific organizations, specific companies, specific people, I'd be that much more effective. And it's been working phenomenally for me.
Yeah.
I actually get clients I want to work with. Like these are the clients. These are the clients that have the funds, that have the will, that have the people that want to work with me, rather than
Yeah.
spreading it out over 100 people in a hot hotel ballroom. I'm focusing on one person. So that was where I extracted the gold nugget of 11 years of networking, and I now do that.
Yeah. And so successfully. It's just
Yeah.
the difference is so dramatic,
Yeah.
when you take that extra time and say, oh, I got it. Let me go this direction. Action step number 4, back in the saddle. The final action step, yes, you guessed it, application. This time, it's time to get back into the saddle, folks. But I want you this time understand that you are armed with that new knowledge, the new insight. You've accepted your failure, you've analyzed it, you've learned from it. Now it's time to take those actions, take those lessons, and put them into actions. Let's use them to guide your strategy, inform your decisions, and shape the future of your business. A good example for me was, again, the lumber yard. Oh my goodness. Though I'm off on vacation and all I can think about is the case studies. So one day I got my, that's right, pad of paper, and I went and sat out on the rocks and I sketched out what I considered to be case studies that would help a company get a really good sense of what makes us so different. And it was just a little streaming of thoughts and things like that. It made all the difference in the world. I brought that back, and Stacy, who I work with, said, oh my gosh, wow, no, this would be the way to do it. Really made me feel great. So off we go. We're doing the case studies.
Yeah, and BJ, you're absolutely right. I was about 6 months ago. I always surf coaching sites just to see what other coaches are doing with
Yeah.
their practice, and I saw one coach had case studies. A little button said case study example, and I clicked on it and I read this really interesting case study. And what's interesting about case studies are that they are stories. They pull you in immediately. And I was like, what a great way to explain a service or product that you have by using a real life application. So I
Yeah.
immediately ran back to my office and started plugging in. And now what my site has for each product or each service a case study example. And so I could
Genius.
totally resonate with you with the case studies. It's like you're telling stories about how you made someone successful. So,
Yeah. And, one of the things that kind of dawned on me was a lot of what we do is storytelling. A
yeah.
lot of what we do is get into the client's head and help take a person on a journey. What a better way to showcase our copywriting. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just so impactful. So I absolutely love it. So tell us about the resources we have today, Rich.
Failing in business can be tough, but it also is an incredible opportunity for learning and growth. Many great books provide valuable insights and advice on navigating business failures. Here are three of them. We're offering three today. I'll do the first
Yes.
one. The first one is
Cool.
called Fail Fast, Fail Often: How Losing Can Help You Win. And it's by Ryan Babineau and John Crumbolts. This is a great book and encourages you to get a new mindset towards failure, encouraging you to start before you feel ready and to fail early, fail often, and also fail forward.
Speaking of failing forward, my book is Failing Forward, Turning Mistakes into Stepping Stones for Success. This book was written by John C. Maxwell. Absolutely love this book. It delves into the changing your perspective on failure, viewing it not as a setback, but as a step toward success. Absolutely loved it.
And our last book is The Upside of Down: Why Failing Well is the Key to Success. And that's by Megan McArdle. This book argues that we're wrong to think of failing as a negative. And it's actually a key part of learning, innovation, and successful problem solving. So there are three great books for you to walk away with today on failure and why it's so important for small business.
Now, as we ride off into the sunset, we using these 4 action steps to help you bounce back after failure. But before we wrap it up, remember this: it's not the failure that defines us, it's how we respond, how we pick ourselves up.
Yeah, and how we keep pushing forward. Because in the end, we're all just travelers on the winding road to success. And remember, every stumble and fall is just a stepping stone, a story to tell when we finally reach our destination.
Here's to embracing failure, learning from it, and returning stronger. After all, in a small business world, it's not about if we fall, it's how we rise. So the next time you face a setback, remember, it's not the end of the world. It's just the beginning of a new chapter. Happy journeying, folks. So that's it for this week. You can reach out to me at newrenew.com and rich@richg.com.
And thanks to our editor and producer, Richard Scalzo.
Have an unbelievable week and catch you later.